Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Hi guys, Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe. Welcome to Mavs Moneyballs After Dark. It's about 5:30, so I guess it's not quite dark yet. On Sunday afternoon, February 26th. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing okay. I appreciate the afternoon game. The one thing though is that I feel like me and you kind of know this as being longtime watchers of the Mavericks, is that the one drawback to having like the big national game is that everyone is watching your team. So you get a bunch of people. If your team's doing well, it's great. If they're not, you get a lot more jokes about your team. So second half was pretty, if you were following this game online, second half was probably not fun because the Mavericks blew the game and you had a bunch of people on Twitter making fun of the Mavericks about it. So it was like a double-edged sword. Yeah, I know. It was a bad loss. Bad loss.
It's so we've not led with the real fun. So the Mavericks lost 111 to 108. At one point in the second quarter, they held a 27-point lead, and they lost the basketball game. I'm curious. You told me you had to listen to part of the game on the radio, so you didn't have to like watch the waters slowly overtaking the Mavericks. In my opinion, what happened in the second quarter is Luka started to get pretty physical and frustrated with aspects of the game. And when he lost focus, everything else sort of went from there. The Lakers cut the lead, which was 27 in quarter two, to 14 by halftime. And just some like Jared Vanderbilt absolutely outworked the entire Maverick team for a huge stretch of game. And that changed things. And it was one of these games where Anthony Davis, who has really not played Dallas very well for a while now, realized that he is a very, very good basketball player relative to Dwight Powell. And as you said in our Mavs Moneyball Slack just now, you think maybe Jason Kidd gave him a little extra slack to do something, meaning Dwight Powell. And Dwight Powell was tremendously bad. He had 4 points, missed a lot of free throws. He missed free throws. He missed easy and ones, and then couldn't defend and couldn't rebound. And Kidd just stuck with him. And I overarchingly, I feel that this loss is on Jason Kidd for not being a very good coach. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, part of it for sure. I think actually kind of talking to some people, Twitter, about someone saying, they think the Mavs are worse after the Kyrie trade because doesn't think Kyrie is a big enough upgrade over Dinwiddie, and you lose Dorian, and the team doesn't have a lot of wings. And I'm kind of like, well, I mean, they were losing. I mean, they lose games all. They were losing games all the time before the trade when Luka had an inefficient under 30-point game. So I don't really see the difference there. But yeah, so like part of it, is definitely on Kidd. Part of it is, it's still kind of that tired and we're just kind of looking at the roster, and I'm just like, they needed Justin Holiday to play 28 minutes. Like Josh Green has come back to earth, and I think that has killed some things, and I think it's made it harder. Like the margins are so slim with the depth, and I'm trying to like be pragmatic about this. You're right about Kidd, but he doesn't have a lot of margin for error. But on the other hand, he seemingly is like playing the wrong hand every single time, which is the tough part. Like you would need a good, like even a good coach, I think, would struggle in what the Mavericks have to deal with roster wise, wing depth wise, like occasionally making the wrong move and decision there with the front court options and the wing options. But then again, like not to let Kidd off the leash totally, he doesn't seem. I can't count on many hands, fingers and toes, how many times I can be like, wow, Kidd's decision making really influenced this game in a positive way. And
I just got a message.
And that's difficult in this kind of game.
I just got a message from a media member who watches all the games. Like he's not on TV, but he's a media member who watches basketball all the time. And he just sent me a message and said, I never say this because I'm pretty pro coach, but that is a fireable loss. Literally no one had come back from that. And honestly, I think that's sort of where I sit.
What do you mean by literally no one has come back from that?
That's the first time this season anyone had come back from down 27.
Oh,
you lose a game up 27 at home, someone has to be held accountable. Now, no one will be held accountable because these are the Dallas Mavericks we talk about here. And I'm really not that mad. I'm profoundly disappointed because there were elements of this game where I watched it, and I think Luka lost focus in the second quarter and really played awful in the second quarter. He was a big reason why the Lakers got back in it because he got outworked by Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt got in his head in a way that we don't normally see.
But here's the thing. Kidd did not use a timeout at all in that stretch. And he doesn't use timeouts in that way ever. He waits. Carl called things a possession too early. Kidd consistently calls timeouts a possession or two too late. And this team doesn't have the leadership on it. Oh, God. Here's the quote.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to find it.
I'm not the savior here. I'm not playing. I'm watching just like you guys. As a team, we've got to grow up. Fire him.
He's certainly watching, isn't he? Just like us. Like maybe that's the most true thing he's ever said as his Dallas Mavericks coach. We've got to mature. I mean, he's right, but like, I mean, are you going to tell Luka to like? That's the thing. It'd
be great if he could. That's the thing. What if he lit into Luka's ass once? Ever?
Yeah, but that's the problem with the Rick. Like they're so
scared of making him mad
because they had the coach that did do that, and now they're just swinging the other way.
But here's the thing,
and they can't swing back. They've crossed the point.
I'm still convinced Luka wants to be coached. He wants to be coached in a way, and it's like you bump into one another. Shit happens in a competitive enterprise. I just can't get over this. I've worked in offices before where it's like we can't have conflict, and those companies always fail, always stumble along. Conflict breeds growth. Light into him a little bit. Luka had a grand total of 4 free throws today. Why was that? Was it because Luka wasn't attacking? I certainly think he was attacking. I don't think the rest were giving him any calls. You could do anything. Anyway, I'm getting way off track because I'm at the top of the key here where the other things flow downhill from Jason Kidd's decisions. I think Luka could afford to play a lot better. I think Kyrie Irving is never going to go 2 for 10 from 3 as a Maverick again. He missed 5 open looks. I mean, catch and shoot jumpers. Kyrie had an off game. He should be allowed to have an off game.
And I appreciate, like, I mean, he had 11 rebounds and 5 assists.
He
so
hustled
like
his ass off. I thought, like, there's like a
I mean, he had that
Kyrie.
game saving. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. There's like a disinterested Kyrie that pops up from time to time. That was not this game. He just didn't make shots.
I mean, he kept the game extended when Justin Holiday missed that awful 3-pointer he took, and he got the offensive rebound and put it back in. That like, you're right. Like, if that would have been disinterested Kyrie, he wouldn't have been close to the basket to make that play. So that was nice. And Luka rebounded okay. His turnovers were awful though. But again, you don't rarely see someone like Vanderbilt kind of like, how often have you seen him dominated physically and like that second half was, I've never seen an opposing player kind of put the clamps on Luka like that before. And we've seen him play against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George at the same time.
It wasn't really clamps. It was like he was letting the physicality affect him. And you rarely see that. Yeah. And so at the top of the key, I'm placing at the top of this tier, I'm placing Jason Kidd. And from everything else kind of flows downhill from there. Where Justin Holiday playing his second game as a Maverick starts. And
yeah, man,
I think the argument for starting Kidd, I think, is actually Holiday is an interesting one because you're sort of faking depth by adding Josh Green to the second unit. But if that's the case, you got to play Josh Green more than 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, that's where the fault lies, where it's like, if Holiday starts and plays 15 minutes and Green comes off the bench and plays 30, I'm okay with that.
Right. Green had 4 fouls. And also, I don't think Green had a great defensive game. Although he was making his threes. And it's like, if he's making his threes, like, keep him on the floor as long as you can, you know? But the 4 fouls probably didn't help. But yeah, you're right. Like, it's like Holiday starting. It was just, it was weird that he started, and then it was weird that he played as much as he played. And I didn't really understand that part of it. And Holiday was just kind of whatever. I mean, he made a clutch 3 in the 4th, but he also had that horrible miss that would have ended the game if Kyrie didn't bail his ass out.
Yep.
Defensively, like this was not like a good game for him, not because, but like because it's like LeBron.
It's a second game.
Well, and LeBron weighs like twice his weight. Like what's he gonna do against LeBron? Like, and Anthony Davis. Like, you know, this isn't the type of game for him.
Yep.
And even, you know, Rui Hachimura didn't have a great game, but he's another like the Lakers are physical, and this was a game where you needed as much physicality as possible. And Holiday, you know, quick on his feet, good, you know, but he's, you know what? I don't know how much he weighs, but he looks like he's 150 pounds soaking wet. So that was just a rough game. Like, he had 0 rebounds in 28 minutes, and that, like, you know, Vanderbilt just jumping through him. Like, Vanderbilt had 8 offensive rebounds alone of his 17. I think he was like the MVP of the game to me, you know, even with Anthony Davis. But yeah, that was, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a team make 23 pointers and the other team make 6, and the team that made 6 win a basketball game. This was like a really impossible game for the Mavericks to lose, and they lost it. That's a difficult pill to swallow.
Yep. The secondary, and just to continue kind of down my list of comments is, you know, I'm not really a big Christian Wood guy. I think that's fair to say. But he played, how many minutes did he play tonight? He played exactly 20 minutes.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Yep.
He's +6 in those 20 minutes.
He had 9 rebounds. He was rebounding well in a game that the Mavericks desperately needed to keep, you know, Vanderbilt and Davis off the glass, and even LeBron. I mean, defensively, again, it's nothing like he doesn't really do enough.
No.
I mean, the Lakers scored 62 points in the paint. Like the amount of times the Mavericks have given up 60 plus points in the paint in the last like 2 weeks is frankly like terrifying. Like the league leader in points in the paint is Denver at 55, and you're regularly giving up 60. Like, like you are beyond the pale. If like this isn't just like, oh shucks, we're just kind of playing some bad. Like you need to do some soul searching. Like the team needs to in a deep way. But yeah, it's like it's not like Powell was doing anything any better. And like I said, this in Slack, Powell historically has played the Lakers well and has played Anthony Davis well. And Powell has actually played Anthony Davis well. I mean, remember, Powell had one of his best games as a pro early on when Davis was a Pelican in New Orleans. And I remember distinctly Powell had like a block on Anthony Davis and then an alley-oop in a home game against the Pelicans years ago. That was kind of like his coming out party. And it was like, for whatever reason, he's played Anthony Davis and he's played the Lakers well. This wasn't that game. And I think he got the minutes because Kidd and the coaching staff kind of knows, okay, Powell plays well against the Lakers, and this kind of shows the limitations of Kidd as a coach. There was just no mid-game adjustment. Like you should have known by halftime, hey, Powell, we know Powell works, but it's not working tonight. Like it's the historical significance doesn't matter because it's not working. Wood isn't playing that much better defense, but at least he's getting Anthony Davis out of the paint, and he's doing things to make the Lakers defense guard a little differently. Yep. And that's the problem. Like, Kidd has probably been his best moments as a coach in Dallas has probably been his ability to keep the bigger picture intact. But the time and time again, the mid game stuff, like it's just constantly something we have to talk about. And whether it's substitutions, it's rotations, it's starting lineups, it's tactics. It feels like once a game starts, the Mavericks kind of play the same game all the way through. And very rarely do you see things change. And it's just like, and this was another game where they had opportunities to do that, but he decided to play Powell 27 minutes when Powell wasn't really giving him anything. So, and I'm a Powell guy. So for me to say that, so I'm not trying to just be like the normal Mavs fan that just thinks Powell is a worthless NBA player. Like, no, I understand, but this was a game Wood probably needed to play. At least with Wood, I think they would have had a better chance at outscoring him. And I mean, with the way this defense is, they have to outscore teams, and they didn't outscore the Lakers.
I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in a game like this, and that is part of it. So it's like when I say Kidd is at the top of it, he's not alone. Kidd didn't Kidd didn't have Tim Hardaway Jr. boof 2 dunks. Like the Mavericks didn't score on those possessions when when Hardaway missed dunks. The Mavericks did not force their way to the free throw line. That was something that I was really shocked about. It's like, can doubt, I thought Luka really over ISO'd Anthony Davis in the second and parts of the third quarter, where it's like he wanted that matchup at times and then was a little bit too indecisive when getting all the way into the key as the game wore on, because frankly, the Mavs 3-point shooters stopped hitting. 12 minutes of Frank Ntilikina, even though he's +9, the other team does not care that Frank exists. Like that's where it's just like this team is so they're shallow, and I think they'll be okay. I still think they'll be okay. But this is another really bad loss in a season filled with bad losses. There's at least 12, possibly as many as 15, like really like what kind of losses, and you get those every year where you lose games in ways that don't make sense. But the Mavericks have a lot, and it's just it sucks. And I was not looking for, like, I didn't want to be mad. I didn't want that Jason Kidd quote to say. I knew it was coming because he refuses to take any sort of responsibility in any of this. And frankly, that sort of thing can poison a locker room. I cannot believe he said that.
Yeah, I don't understand. I'm not playing. I'm watching just like you guys is just so funny because that's the thing that we kill him for all the time, right? Like it's just.
I want to write about this. I don't think I can. I don't think I can rationally write about this because I'm so mad because I don't hold him as like the sole person, simply the most important person. And when he says, I'm watching just like you guys, that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, what are they? They're in the games Kyrie and Luka have played together, they're 1-4. Since the Kyrie trade, since Luka, they've lost 4 out of their last 5. Kyrie didn't play in one of those losses, so you can't really pin the Kyrie Luka duo to that. But yeah, and their one win is against a team that is trying to lose as much as they can. Like that doesn't count as an NBA team. So it's a little concerning. And this is the point of the season where you kind of want Luka to just be like,
yeah,
like, can Luka come out the next game and just like run back on defense all night, not necessarily because what's going to suck is like they're going to come out the next game and it's going to be the same stuff over again. Like they might beat the Pacers because they're just Kyrie and Luka can beat the Pacers, but is Luka going to come out and start the game with the same mindset of just like I'm going to walk back on defense if I don't get this foul called, I'm going to complain. Like it'd be nice if we just saw something a little bit different there. But we've been wanting that for a while and it just doesn't happen. And because like we're at the point of the season now, there's no more trades, there's no more buyouts, there's no more like the team is the team. Like this is the team. So there's no white knight riding in that's going to change things. So you look at your best player, right? Like you look at your best player to do something about it. Like that's why he gets the big money. That's why he gets the big contract. It's the same thing if the Mavericks were in a spell when Dirk was the best player. We'd be like, all right, it's time for Dirk to do something about it and play one of those games where it's like, we're just not losing this game. And that's kind of what superstars do.
Yeah.
So it's a shame. And, adjustment wise, I'm not really sure because, again, I probably didn't watch, I only really watched closely the fourth quarter. But just like the general vibe of the team, it just feels like they kind of need to refocus a little bit and stop playing kumbaya and just kind of admit like, hey, we're in a slump, we're struggling, like we need to, like it's not acceptable, we got to change this, and instead of being like, hey, things are cool, it's whatever, we'll be fine, so it's time for them to kind of kick it into another gear.
Well, we'll be back at it. I don't know. I'm going to go record the live show and let people tee off.
People are going to be very mad.
Moneyball and, see what, our guys write. Xavier just turned in his recap. Bless him for recapping this one because Lord knows I would lose my mind. And we'll have some other stuff up as the days go along. I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out at Mavs Moneyball. This has been Kirk and Josh Bowe, and we will talk with you at some point soon.